Oh, hey, warriors. How are you all across the world? I hope you're doing well and thriving and healing and in here to study and figure out and contemplate in the presence of other experienced natural healing warriors how to go about your healing journey, how to improve on what you already may be doing, or if you're just starting out, how to just get that first chart and that plan set. And this is a beautiful and safe space to do that. It's been a while since my last live video, and I'm happy to be back doing these again. I love being with you guys in this group. It's been for me personally, I've been going through a lot of healing phases. I've gone for a little history about me, if for those who don't know me too well. Had psoriasis in 2003. It started, and then from that point on, it was just on my scalp, one little spot, and very, I guess you could call that mild, but you know how it is. Whether it's one spot or all over, it's severe to each one of us who are going through it. And that started in 2003 after I had two severe injuries and surgeries. I had a root canal that was just very complicated and got infected, and that was very tough experience. And then I had hurt my knee a few times and torn the ACL, so I had an ACL reconstruction surgery, and that had a lot of complications as well. After the surgery, I got an infection in the knee, and then as soon as that I finally recovered from that, I was bedridden in a brace for a few months, and then after that, this psoriasis started on my scalp. So, needless to say, I believe in this day that I think infections and chronic complications in the body, whether they be environmental poisons that the body is having a tough time eliminating, deep injuries or severe traumas, chronic stress coming at the body, whether that's through chronic infection or through, outside causes from the world, mental stress. And I think that those are some of the underlying perpetual factors that the immune system has a very difficult time dealing with without our help, without us intervening through our biology, through changing our mentality, and changing the way we eat, and changing the way we live, and thinking about herbals and wild foods and things that the body is accustomed to using for many, many thousands of years as we've evolved. And that's what I kind of mean by natural healing is charting this map for each one of us uniquely, and then filling in the gaps. And it's a path of self-understanding. And for each of us, we're going to find different pathways, different diets, different lifestyle interventions and changes. And that's what's beautiful about the group, is to kind of find patterns and a consensus of some specific aspects that are working for many, many people. So any new members or even those that have been here a while can come back in, feel inspired, which is most important, is the ecstasies, to be inspired to either start your natural healing journey or to reinvigorate yourself to get back going with it, whether it's a life issue that caused you to jump back on and go after this. But that's kind of what I want to discuss first, as far as a mental health strategy of mine that I think is really important, is the what I call my 3 C's of mental healing. And it's very practical philosophy, and I just think that every choice that we make is massively important. And we live in a fast-paced day and age full of information and analysis and researching and searching and researching and searching and researching. And then we have a social consensus of what's working for this person and that person. We have hundreds or even thousands of those coming in. So it's important to rely on you development of each choice being conscious, bringing more of your choices to the conscious realm instead of unconscious choices, and then having to build concentration around each choice. I believe in a practical transition being very helpful. For some of us, we can just go cold turkey overnight and say, okay, no more of this, no more drinking, no more sugar, no more processed foods. And you wake up the next day and you just start your new diet, and you stick to it, and that's fantastic. I applaud people with that level of discipline out of the gates. And depending on how the severity goes, when I first started, I had that mentality, and it works, but it generated more stress for me as well. And I think that there's a practical transition there where you're building a concentration around new choices that you're making. Choices to change your grocery list, choices to break that habit of stopping through for a latte on your way to work when you're trying to cut out the dairy, choices to stop that restaurant habit when you're late to lunch and you're not bringing your own lunch to work or whatever it may be. Each one of these choices is important, and it's going to require a lot of effort. It's going to require a lot of concentration. And, in a practical transition, you can say, okay, what do I want to master today or this week? If that's, I want to be a better water drinker. I want to kind of exchange out these energy drinks I'm starting every day with, and I want to bring more water into my life. That's a great, strong choice. And in a practical transition, then there's steps that you can lay out underneath that. Okay, well, I want to get a stainless steel water bottle, and that's going to be my vessel. And so you get that water bottle, and then you're like, okay, I want a pure water source. I'm going to add some zinc drops. I'm going to add some alkalizing ionic drops. I'm going to, add some things to my water, maybe some liquid chlorophyll. I'm going to start the day off with a pint of lemon water as an elimination, as a flush. So each one of these is skill building. And so each choice has now a broken down set of repetitive actions that you can instill in your life. But give that choice time, give it concentration, and don't get overwhelmed by thinking, well, I have to do water, I have to do the diet. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like this is causing more stress in your life, then that's kind of defeating the purpose of relieving stress from the body, which is important for healing. So rely on each choice, the first C, and build that C that goes along with it of concentration to develop your new warrior life, to start to transition on your journey. And then these will develop habits that will then become second nature. So you'll start to wake up and you'll always have lemons or some cucumber to mash in your water, or mint or whatever you choose to alkalize with in your water. They'll always be around. They'll always be in your shopping cart. They'll always be in the fridge. This will happen over time. Your refrigerator, the contents of your fridge will change, whether you do it overnight or whether you do it over practical and transition. But this is kind of preparing your body to go through the deep levels of elimination that I feel are necessary to have a transformative experience in life, and to prove and show yourself that you can heal from psoriasis. I promise you, you can. You see it in the group here. You see it through Maria's progress, and there's been others who have diligently shared their progress on a sequential timeline, like she is doing, to show warriors that the roller coaster ride of what you're going to go through most times when you go into a natural healing, a detoxification, elimination of the body. It's not going to be a straight line, fine ride. It's going to be a chaotic, up and down, cyclical kind of roller coaster. And, I've been experiencing that for many years. I've had the first 2 years of healing were kind of, to jump back into my story timeline. After 10 years of steroids and then doing methotrexate for a year, which had me bedridden. And then at the proposition of doing biologics, that's when I said no to the drugs in about 2012. I'm not doing any more steroids. I'm not doing methotrexate. It's awful, and I'm certainly not going to start these biologics that are very brand new and very exploratory, which is what they're still offering today in different formats, all different drugs that have just been developed and synthesized and aggregated from the last one. And it's just, I just did not want that path. So there I was. At that time, the psoriasis had gone from mild to moderate to severe because the steroid usage just made it worse. And so at that point, I said, okay, well, I have to take some responsibility, or I have to choose something different in my life. I have to choose to take some actions. And that's kind of when in October of 2012, I did some things cold turkey. Like I said earlier, I was a black and white, overnight approach, and that's kind of where I came up with the idea of the healing warrior, because I knew this was going to be a fight. It's going to be a series of battles, and I was going to win some and lose some. But even though I was going to be losing some battles, my goal was to win this war. And it was very lonely back then. But I started sharing on some videos on YouTube, and I found other warriors like Hannah Solito and Gary Barnes, and Hannah has now developed an amazing world of helping hundreds of thousands of people, written books, and has her own lines of probiotics, and is a wonderful person, and has just been growing this in the spotlight. I mean, I have a podcast with her that we did about, oh gosh, like 3 or 4 years ago now. It's on my show, Healing Warrior Radio. You can search Healing Warrior Radio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and I urge you to listen to my discussion with her to get more of that history, and to hear someone who had not only just revolutionized her own life with the power of natural healing, but has now been doing that with many other people, and helping them in their lives make these amazing changes, like you see in Maria's progress here most recently. That all comes back to the choices, changing the choices, bringing more choices to the conscious, realizing that every micro choice is important, and to make sure that we develop more mindfulness in each choice that we make, because the choice is just the beginning. It's the most important part, because it is the beginning of change. But this is just the beginning. Now there are repetitive actions. There is a routine that needs to be built. There is a ritual that needs to be developed out of that routine. So that's my 3 R's, actually, which goes inside the 3 C's. You have a repetitive repetition. Okay, because the mind's going to go crazy, especially when you say you start the water or you clean up the diet, so to speak, and then you have symptoms that get worse, or you have new sets of symptoms that get excessive itchiness, spots spreading out, small farms of spots showing up where around the old plaques, that's known as gutted psoriasis. In my case, I went through 2 years on a really hard first 2 years. And that's what I was sharing videos about. It's like, hey, everybody out there who may be out there, this is what I'm experiencing, and it's hell on earth. I did not even know, but it proved to me that my body was fighting some deep infections. There were some deep problems that were causing this so-called autoimmune response. It wasn't, I just don't believe the allopathic textbook definition of the autoimmune immune system, confusing indigenous cells for invader cells and attacking indigenous cells. I was more curious. I'm like, well, what the hell are these invader cells we're talking about here? What if these invader cells and the byproducts of these bacteria or pathogens and viruses are causative, or at least correlated? So maybe if I can eat foods in a diet that wipes them out and cleans out that byproduct that they're putting off, then let's see if the skin will calm down. And sure enough, in my experience and in many others, most everybody who makes the choices necessary and continues to add more choices to their life have seen this happen. But that experience, what I call the healing crisis, is real, and it needs to be clearly understood. And I think that's one of the best things about Psoriasis Healing Warriors and basking in Maria's healing journey here, is that you can see that it wasn't just a very nice straight line towards progress for her. She's had ups and downs and setbacks throughout the last 5 months. And, and she mentioned in February that she had an infection in a tooth, and then had to take antibiotics for that infection. I believe that infections in the teeth, root canals in my case, I had a root canal. I finally got the root canal removed. It was in my mouth for, that dead tooth was in there for, 12 years, and I didn't get the crown done right on it, and then the metal, then I had an amalgam filling back then that fell out, and I swallowed it. I didn't even notice it fell out, but then that silver's in my body, that amalgam, mercury, it's probably still in my body. I'm probably still eliminating that from my liver. It takes a long time. And then in 2015, when I had the tooth pulled, and there's a post about this in the group, if you want to search, search Matt root canal, you'll find it. And when I had the root canal pulled, there was a cyst in there. There's a large cyst that the dentist actually used a scalpel to open up. And lo and behold, when he did that, my symptoms went from being, I had cleared after the first 2 years to now it got excessively worse. But I think that was a necessary step in my journey to choose to get that tooth pulled, because of course the dentist just wanted to put a new crown on it. Well, you don't want to lose the tooth. And I had been doing research about root canals, and and my experience through proving to myself that my interventions were working. I came to the belief that this root canal was a fundamental causative problem. And sure enough, when he pulled it out, there was infection hiding in that tooth that then got probably released back into the body, and I've been still fighting that off. But since that time in August 2015, when I had that tooth pulled, to now, I mean, I know still have breakouts going on, but I can promise you that the severity of outbreaks that I had that started after that root canal extraction and the removal of the cyst, those were the worst, most severe psoriatic symptoms. I had white pustules breaking out all over my body. I mean, all over my body, thousands and thousands of white pustules, which are known to be a strep infection reaction. And it's been a long journey since then of multiple years of choosing to do my best and stick to what I'm doing in the face of all doubt, in the face of symptoms coming back, in the face of course, being exposed to the large social world online that has grown from basically nothing other than Pagano's book in 2012 to now is this thriving community of millions of people who are trying to figure this out. But of course, in the figuring, there's a lot of consensus of what works for each person and sharing that around. So that really comes back to what I mean with choosing too, is you got to commit concentration towards your choices. That's first. So now we could talk about consistency, which is going to develop commitment. That's the second C, is to challenge yourself. So you're making these choices, right? One choice, two choices, 3, 4. You're developing a practical transition to bring these into your life the best you can with the time and the resources that you have. Remember, you can't get past these things in the physics that we know. We can't get past the time and the space. But what you can do with a good mental health practice is develop more space mentally by seeing clearly and consciously each choice that you're developing and empowering yourself around each choice. That's going to create some space and some solitude and some peace. And then time, what you can do to help yourself with time is to try to remove the how long question. The how long question is going to be coming after you like its own chronic mystery illness. So how long is this going to take? How long, if I do this, what Maria's doing, or if I do this green juicing thing that Matt's doing that I don't believe in yet, or if I do this diet, how long is it going to take, and how long until I see results? That's a tough one. It's really tough to extrapolate into the future because you're not going to get a bona fide answer. And then it's hard to compare yourself to someone else because they might have results on a shorter timeline than you do. And if you're comparing how long, you're going to say, oh, well, it took them only 5 months. Why I'm doing the same dedication? I'm choosing the same level of discipline. Why is it taking me so much longer? Why am I not getting the results? And so that's what how long does to you, is it leads you into this rhetorical, why me? Why is it taking me longer? Why is this not working for me? And that could lead into absolutism, which is, well, nothing works for me. I've tried these diets. I've tried everything. And the issue there is that trying is not what we're going after here. What we're going after with the natural healing journey is kind of like the hero's journey. This continues onward. I would say commit for the rest of your life, because as you build more skills and choose to add more practice to your life is going to improve fundamentally. Of course, we're gathered here together because of psoriasis. That's what's brought us all together. But most times we have other issues going on, whether they're more pain, physical pain, mental trauma, digestive issues, IBD, IBS. Some of us have to deal with psoriatic arthritis in the joints, rheumatoid arthritis. Some of us have colitis, the inflammations in our colon, which is connected to the skin. So you have these horrible bowel pains. Some of us have it in the nervous system. Some people dealing with sclerosis. Some people are dealing with ringing of the ears, tinnitus, and then of course there's all the thyroid issues that you're dealing with. So many times psoriasis is just one of many issues, and this is so a lifelong journey kind of heals your mind from this. Well, how long is it going to take for me? So you can create time that way and give yourself some peace. So you can create more time and create more space by the choice sets you make, and by removing the consideration of the future, and staying more in the present moment with what you're willing to do, what you're capable of doing right now, and what you can then develop a belief in. So that's why I like to break things down in a practical transition. So because it's going to take a while for many people, but I've seen it work. I have confidence in telling you that it does. It's going to work for you. I believe that the work works if you're putting in your efforts. And that's really what I mean when I say the second C of challenge. So there's a challenge here. You have to challenge yourself to build a commitment and develop a consistency. So that's kind of the supportive C here. So we have our choices we're making, and we're developing. So we have choices we make, developing concentration that makes each choice stronger and more solidified. Then we have a challenge of ourselves. Okay, I'm choosing to do more water in my life. So that's the challenge. So what's the challenge? Step, step, step. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Routine. And then that's going to develop only through consistent effort. So that's the supportive C underneath. You're challenging yourself is through developing consistent efforts and sticking to them in the face of doubt, your own doubt, other people's doubt. Once you feel like you've come into an intellectual point where you have decided to take action on the analysis you've done, shut it down a little bit, and now go inward. This is a path of self-understanding. It's really an individual path that we're sharing in a social tribe. We're inspired by each other to start, to restart. Then now we're diving into the self-understanding. What am I capable of? What is my capacity? And then we can get into all the large labyrinth of your own mental health. What are my traumas? What is happening every day in my life that I feel is happening to me? Do I have a role to play in any of that? Can I step back from some things in this world that are making me angry or frustrated? Can I look at these things with a bit of a different perspective? And healing is kind of about developing that perspective. So as the more you challenge yourself to change your diet, change your lifestyle, add in that meditation practice that you know you need, start that yoga class that you've been wanting to start for a long, long time, but been putting off because you have no time, or maybe it's a financial issue, you can't afford the yoga class, but you could actually start that yoga channel online and follow some of those exercises that doesn't cost you any money. You can be doing it. You can be stretching. You can be adding exercises, and you can be changing what you put in your grocery cart and what you choose to cook at night and eat. And this is all part of challenging yourself. And you're going to have, I always see the word cheat. Well, I had some cheats. I went out to a restaurant. I had cheats. I don't really like to stay focused too much on the word cheat. As long as you're making a transition in your life, you're going to notice that as you heal up and clear up and gain strength, and you feel better, and your energy levels are improving, your bowel movements are improving, you're on a schedule there. You got to notice these things that are being solved in your life. Constipation is one of them, and that's something that many people notice right out of the gates, is that after a while of transitioning to more plant foods, more fruits, more pure water, more electrolytes, more phytochemicals and antioxidants in the foods they choose to eat, all these additions are going to improve the body's functions. But this is not an overnight thing. The body is a living, breathing organism. It needs to regenerate tissue of the organs. The blood needs to heal all the blood cells, especially if you're already in the cardiovascular problem arena. If you're pre-type 2 diabetic, or if you've been dealing with type 1 your whole life, you already have that set of complications. Your pancreas is already weak or non-functional. So the liver is going to pick up all the slack here. You might have already had your gallbladder removed, so now the liver has to pick up that slack. So there's going to be some time where the organs need to regenerate, rebuild, before they can even get into the hard work of eliminating causes and perpetual or proliferating issues that are causing this inflammatory response in your skin or in your joints or in your bowel. So the additions of these new nutrient sets are the fuel to make this happen. So your job is twofold. Your job is to fuel the body and continue to fuel the body no matter what the mind's getting crazy on, no matter what it's going off on, no matter what diet it's choosing to stop and the other diet it's choosing to start. Continue to add in the sets of phytochemicals, antioxidants, enzymes are massively important, all these micronutrients. That's why I don't like to get too caught up in the macronutrient discussion of the food wars online about carbohydrate, protein, fat. Basically, protein and fat are the same for the most part, especially in animal meats. The carbohydrate many times gets left behind, especially in the keto discussion. But carbohydrate is where a lot of these micronutrients are. And then certain different sets of plant foods have these diverse sets of these micronutrients, of enzymes, phytochemicals, antioxidants. Of course, they have fiber that helps the bowel move. But it's more so about the absorption of these chemicals that help the body fight off infections, help the body burn off visceral fats around the organ, where more infection typically is hiding, these really bad fats that collect around your organs. I mean, just consider those barricades to any type of deep elimination or healing. These visceral fats is just like your body's trying to sludge through the quicksand that's turning into concrete. So that all needs to be burned off and removed, especially if you're already dealing with obesity where you already have a lot of lipids to burn off. So that's why a nice combination of phytochemicals, low-fat diet, high carbohydrate as far as the diverse phytochemicals are concerned, that's going to help your body burn this down. And then if you add in an aerobic exercise routine, if you add in some walking every day in nature and maybe some stretching to help the body tear away at some of those fats and release them, and then expand on that into something that's a little tougher, that causes you to breathe heavier. Maybe you go to a light jog, or you find a place to jump in the pool or in the ocean, take a swim, or even just walk in the water, waist high water, and do some resistance training. Now we're talking. Now we're getting the body into an invigorative state where it's becoming its own kind of pumping, healing machine, which is what the body has been built to do. But this all comes back to challenging yourself. And if you challenge yourself on a practical transition, say, okay, I'm going to add just one yoga stretch today, just one. I'm not going to try and say, okay, I'm doing 2 hours of yoga today, 2 hours of stretching today. I'm going to go for a run when you've never done a run before in your life, or jump on your bike. Just any one is greater than zero. A walk around the block, a bike ride around the block. Start small, start easy, because the body needs to get used to this. Changing out your grocery list a little bit at a time. Pick out some foods that you actually kind of like that are on my priority list, and I'll share that in the comments and the link. The link to I lay out priority foods that I focus on. Some you may know, some you may never have heard of. Order them online, get them in your house, add them to your foods, and trying to just start bringing in these foods that are micronutrient rich. That's going to fuel the body with all the different elements it needs, such as iodine, magnesium, zinc. These are crucial elements, building blocks that the body can't produce on its own. Minerals, it just can't produce those on its own. So that's what our job is. And many of us have been relying on a processed diet. That's just all of those crucial nutrients are extracted. And then, of course, there's water filtration, but that's removing all the important kind of river minerals from the water. So I like to add liquid zinc sulfate back to my water. I like to add ionizing drops back in, some manganese, magnesium back into my water, because I do drink only filtered water. I do not drink tap water, but I do add things back in. Liquid chlorophyll, which brings in a lot of that plant blood, which turns the water on, charges it up. Bring that in. And so we need these minerals and nutrients. And so plant foods mostly are going to have these nutrients available. And so that's why I focus on those wild foods, diverse sets of herbs and fruits, made a lot of fruits in the morning, and then vegetables. So I kind of do a transition of macro where I just typically eat, I do my juicing regimen, and then I have my fruit grazing I do And then in the afternoon and the evenings, then I'll introduce some fats, proteins. I mean, I think we get plenty of protein from all the foods we eat. As so, that's kind of how I work it through the day when it comes to the macros. But my focus, like I said before, is on micronutrients. Um, so so that's under that C, is to build a consistent plan and practice through challenging yourself based on the choices you put in place. I'm doing this. I'm empowered to do this. I am choosing to do this. I am riddled by these psoriatic symptoms. They are ruining my life, and I am choosing to take action. And that's what that's what it means. That's what healing is. That's why it's healing, ing. It continues onward. Many people have experienced, oh, I'm healed and it's cleared out. I remember when I thought that, and then it came back aggressively worse because there's still issues in my body, and I was riddled with doubt and fear, and it took me a while, and it took a very strong mental health practice that I started to build outside of just the diet stuff I was doing to get myself ready for the long run and to stick with this to this day. And I'm dealing with the symptoms now, and they're getting much better, like I said, than they were in 2015. My leg around the knee surgery is getting much better. Around my jaw, around where the root canal was pulled out, that's getting much better. I'm getting other dental issues fixed up. I had to get some cavities removed, and I'm 42 now, so my teeth need that kind of work. I've had a lot of dental trauma in my life. Far back to braces, permanent molars being pulled out, wisdom tooth complications. It's just been hell and high water in my mouth. And I've seen through taking a lot of surveys with other warriors that dental issues seem to be very patterned to inflammatory responses, strep infections that don't go away without eating foods that kill it on a consistent basis, and then also eliminating foods that feed the strep. So that's why I avoid eggs and dairy. Those are food sources for pathogenic infections. So that's the reason that I don't eat them. I know that, like, oh, well, eggs are highly nutritious. Well, that's great if you're not dealing with infections that are ravishing your body and causing these mystery, autoimmune responses. Eggs are fine. They are nutrient dense in certain ways as long as they're quality sourced and you actually knew where they came from and how the chicken's life was and what it was eating and so on and so forth. But and what free range actually is. But they are strep food, pathogen food. That's why I try to keep those down. And of course, I as a kid growing up, I loved cheese on everything and cheese. And I ate cheese no problem, until I had infections in my mouth and infections in my knee, and then psoriasis problems, and then so if you don't have those issues, then cheese and eggs and stuff like that aren't going to be a problem. But for us warriors who are trying to figure out this labyrinth of what to eat, what not to eat, that I do have some reasons why I don't eat these foods. It's not just I put this diet together. It's just don't eat this, eat that. It's based on a lot of trial and error that I've gone through. It's based on talking with thousands of other people, so it's a pretty wide consensus. It's based on a lot of literature as well. And of course, I've watched lots of videos and studied naturopathic doctor's approach, and I'm all for any approach that helps you. When you figure it out, you figured it out. But stick with it, because if you're, I remember Maria mentioned, like, oh, can I went out and had some foods. I had some tacos, some gluten, some cheese, and I kind of was expecting large responses, and I didn't have them. So that's a good sign. So that means that the infection is knocked down to a point where she's not having a response because that bacteria is not there as much to consume and remove or release byproduct that's causing these inflammatory responses the immune system's responding to. But it is responding to something. I believe that strongly. It's not responding, it's not just malfunctioning and attacking the body, because of some genetic predisposition or hereditary challenge or something like that. So the third C, you're making choices, you're building your concentration. You're challenging yourself, you're building consistency in your efforts. Choice, concentration. Challenge, consistency. There has to be some room for love in life. This can't just be creating more stress in your life. So there has to be a cherishing, which is the third C. You have to cherish your efforts. Of course, you're going to cherish your results when they start to come. You're going to blow your own mind. I'm telling you, it was when I had my first clearance after being down in it for the better part of 2 years and going through all kinds of excessive itchy, oozing, all kinds of die-off reactions, Hersheimer reactions, and healing crisis responses. I had that first break in clearance. It's like, wow. Of course, you're going to cherish that. Cherish the amazing results that you can drive for yourself when you get through challenging yourself enough and sticking with it. But you also have to cherish the journey along the way. You have to make it fun in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you can team up with somebody. Maybe maybe you love to do recipes, so you find a new recipe book or a new recipe blog that is based in the foods that you need to be eating more of, and you make creative recipes and you cherish that. Maybe you have Sunday where you can prepare all the foods for yourself before the busy week. It's very therapeutic. I've become a master vegetable chopper. And I've become, I find therapy in the process when I'm making a juice. It's part of my lifestyle. I believe it strongly it works. I feel so good when I drink it. And without juicing, I know I would not have gone as far as I've gotten. But it takes a while, and the mind can look at it and be like, oh, I don't want to juice. So much cleanup. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to wash the vegetables. That takes too long. So with that kind of mentality, then you're gonna go at your healing process as kind of dragging anchor. So you have to work the mind into a form of gratitude. Be grateful for your efforts you're making. Show some gratitude to yourself. You're worth it. You're not just. I know psoriasis makes us develop hatred for ourselves, but you're worth it. Cherish the efforts you're making. I mean, cherish the future. Think about, if you are going to think about the future, imagine a future self that is thanking you in this present moment, thanking you for these efforts you're making now. Thank you. We're gonna make it. We're gonna get through this, and we're gonna be better for it. We're gonna be stronger. We're gonna be warriors. We're gonna be stronger for it. So you got to cherish the moments and look at these as therapeutic efforts. And if you can do that, especially if you're with your family or your loved ones, and they can rally around you and cheer you on and cherish it with you, now you're going to develop the supportive C of Cherish, which is your convictions, your commitment. You're going to commit, but not by forcing yourself. Okay, don't develop more mental stress, more energetic stress, more emotional trauma and stress out of this by forcing yourself. That's why you just transition into this, build skills one at a time, and don't force yourself. Cherish your efforts. Cherish the challenges based on your choices. Concentrate towards consistent efforts that develop convictions, develop a new you, a new life. And this new you is going to be a beautiful you. This, like I said before, this is not about just, clearing psoriasis. This is going to set the table and the foundation. So 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, or if you're, in a senior age now, you're not going to be falling victims to things like indigenous cancers. You're gonna avoid the cardiovascular problems because your liver is getting stronger instead of weaker. Instead of going from fatty to sluggish to tired to cirrhosis, your liver's going the other direction. And it does this over a span of years. So it's going from, hardened to sluggish to tired to fatty. It's coming back to life. And that's going to support you. And it's going to help you eliminate some of the environmental toxic issues of the world as well. So I really feel strongly that it's going to set the stage for you to have a strong, healthy life. It's going to improve longevity. You're going to have better years at the end of your life. You're not going to be keeled over in a wheelchair with your head hanging down and your shoulders slumping. You're going to feel full of energy and energetic, especially if you add yoga to your life and exercise and you get those shoulders back where they're supposed to be and you develop some muscular strength. There's studies around muscular training being one of the prime factors of longevity. And not just longevity, not just I want to live till 100, but thrive till 100. That's going to improve sleep. When you eat better, you're going to improve on your sleep, and sleep is a pillar. So there's 4 pillars, right? The one pillar is diet. The second pillar is movement. The third pillar is sleep. And the fourth pillar is community. which is what we have here. We have community, and that's what you're giving back to the community. If you're having trouble doing it for yourself, do it for this community so you can show them that you've done it and that you're being an example. That was the main epiphany I had at the beginning, because I was alone by myself trying to force myself into doing this diet, and I did, and I had great results at the beginning. But my mental approach was, I needed to share what I was doing. And as soon as the first person responded to one of my videos and said, "Hey, I'm trying to stop the drugs too. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm trying my best to do this without drugs and do this natural way." And as soon as I had that one person relying on me, all of a sudden I could rely on myself much, much greater. And that's been going and going. And it's a powerful social human force, and we're social creatures. So that's the power that I see in when I see Maria's posts, and I've seen many posts like hers that have gone through. She's almost at her 6th month. I believe in the month 6 being a crucial turning point. Month 6 is usually when there's really deep clearance results. That's just the beginning, though, so stick with it. I like to think of it as 6 minutes, 6 seconds to make a choice, 6 minutes, challenge yourself, 6 days, cherish this new routine that you're developing, and 6 weeks, maybe noticing that things are getting worse. So it's important to stick to your convictions that you're just now building. 6 months, big breakthrough, cherish the breakthrough. 6 years, this is me. This is the new me. This is what I do. I started this because I had an affliction that forced me into it, but I didn't force myself to change. I just started making new choices that led to new challenges that I met, that developed a cherished life that I had a commitment for. And so I think that those 3 C's will really serve you well. Think about a practical transition. And as you're going about your day, just exhale. I like a breathing method called the 4-2-8. It's a 4-second inhale through the nose, 2-second hold, 8-second exhale through the mouth until you're very empty, until you feel your tummy pulling up against your ribs. So 4-second inhale. 8-second exhale after the 2-second hold. Until you're nice and empty. And then 4-second inhale only through the nose. And repeat that breathing cycle until you feel very calm and relaxed. It takes 10 times, 7 times. The mind will calm down. The intrusive thoughts will calm down. And you're deeply oxygenating your body, which is going to help all of your organs and tissues. Bring in the oxygen. So bring in the oxygen, the 4 elements, the air, bring in the water, bring in the earth, which is foods from the dirt, whole foods. Put your feet in the dirt, get out in nature. And then the 4th element, fire, is the fire inside of you, the sun that touches your skin in sensible ways, the heat that you feel when you help somebody is going to also reduce that inflammation. So, okay, warriors, we'll have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you find some helpful tidbits in this video. Please comment, lay any questions you want in the comments. I'm hoping to next time interview warriors on my live videos, so you don't just hear me blabbering at you. Hear a kind of a conversation, so we can dive deeper into experiences that we have. And I'll ask you, any questions you have, just leave them in the comments. Thank you, Stuart. I appreciate you watching. It's I really appreciate your support. And it's been a long run. This group's been going for 10 years. It's just a lifelong journey, and I really cherish my life. And it used to be unlivable when the psoriasis was chronic and I was riddled with the drugs and I couldn't even work anymore. I was angry. I was a miserable person to be around. And now look what we have. And that all came from choicettes and challenges. And I cherish everything that we have. All right, I'm done telling you about the C's. Much love, mad respect, more healing. If you need a place to start, I have a free psoriasis healing guide. Go to phwarrior.com. Throw your name and email in there. I'll send over my free guide right away. I'll also send another email if you want weekly help. I have a series of emails I've put together that will run you through the weeks and the months, bring you along on that practical transition slowly. So that's the second email I'll send you. There's a link in there. Click that link if you want to hear from me on a weekly basis. But the guide will be sent to you right away no matter what. I hope you find help in that. And I will be back soon. Have a lovely weekend, Warriors. Much love, mad respect, more healing.